Tonight we're working off the worksheet 2.6, Simplifying Complex Fractions. We're going to have more practice simplifying complex fractions. Now remember, to simplify complex fractions, this is fractions within fractions, we're going to multiply every term by the least common denominator of all the denominators. So if we look at our denominators, y plus 3, 1, and y plus 3, the least common denominator is y plus 3. So we multiply every term by y plus 3. The y plus 3's divide out here, we're left with y. Y plus 3 times 1 over 1, nothing divides out, that's y plus 3. Y over y plus 3 times y plus 3, the y plus 3's divide out, we're left with minus y. So now we have a simpler fraction, just with a numerator and a denominator. And now in the denominator, y minus y is 0, so our answer is y over 3. Again, you're multiplying every term by the least common denominator of all the denominators. So if we look at number 2 here, I've written 5 as a fraction 5 over 1 and x as a fraction x over 1. Now look at our denominators, 1 and 2x. 4x and 1, least common denominator is 4x. So we multiply every single term by 4x. Nothing divides out. 4x times 5 is 20x. 4x and 2x, the x's divide out, and 2 and 4 reduce. So we have 5 times 2, which is 10. 4x's divide out, 1. Nothing divides out. 4x times x is 4x squared. So we have 1 minus 4x squared. Now, can we reduce this? Well, we're going to factor, right? We have a simple fraction now, so look to factor. This has a GCF of 10. So that's 10 times 2x plus 1. And 1 minus 4x squared, you should recognize that as dots, difference of two squares. 1 plus 2x times 1 minus 2x. 1 plus 2x and 2x plus 1 are the same. They divide out. So our answer is 10 over 1 minus 2x. Number 3, again, let's look at all our denominators. 1x, x squared, x and 1. So the least common denominator is x squared. So we'll multiply every single term here by x squared. Multiplying here, nothing divides out. X squared times 1 is x squared. Multiplying here, the x in the denominator divides out with one of the 2 in the numerator. So that's negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Here the x squares divide out, plus 9. Down in the denominator here we have x squared times 3 over x. The x in the denominator divides out with 1 in the numerator. So x times 3 is 3x. And nothing divides out, so that's minus x squared. Okay, so now we have a simpler fraction. Now can we reduce it? Can it be simplified? We factor. Factors of 9 that add to negative 6 are negative 3 and negative 3. In the denominator here, there's a GCF x. Factor out x, and the other factor is 3 minus x. Now, 3 minus x and x minus 3 are opposites, right? These are opposites. So they divide out, and I'll put a negative 1 in the denominator. So our numerator is x minus 3, and our denominator is negative x. You might want to try the next one. Pause the video and try it on your own. Okay, again looking at all the denominators. 1x, x squared, 1x, x squared. Least common denominator is going to be x squared. Multiplying every single term by x squared. Multiplying here, nothing divides out. That's x squared. Multiplying here, the x in the denominator divides out with 1 and the 2 in the numerator. Negative 5 times x, negative 5x. The x squareds divide out, plus 6. Nothing divides out, x squared. The x in the denominator divides out with this x, 1 of the 2 in the numerator. This is negative 6 times x, negative 6x. And the x squareds divide out, that's plus 8. So now our simpler fractions made up of two trinomials, factor them, lead coefficients 1. So we're going to the factors of 6 that add to negative 5. That'll be negative 3 and negative 2. So x minus 3, I said negative 3, negative 2, but I wrote negative 3. So x minus 3 times x minus 2. The factors of 8 that add to negative 6 are negative 4 and negative 2. X minus 4 times x minus 2. And the x minus 2's are common, they divide out. Our answer is x minus 3 over x minus 4. And our last one. Looking at our denominators, we have a plus b, a minus b, and a squared minus b squared. Well, recognize a squared minus b squared as the difference of two squares, and that's equivalent to a plus b times a minus b. So our least common denominator is a plus b times a minus b. So we're multiplying every single term by a plus b times a minus b. Okay, so when we go to multiply here, the a plus b's divide out. We're left with 2 times a minus b, which is 2a minus 2b. Multiplying here, the a minus b's divide out. We're left with negative 2 times ab. All right, I'm going to pick up the negative here. So I'm distributing negative 2. So negative 2 times a is negative 2a. And negative 2 times positive b is negative 2b. And then on the denominator, both divide out, so we're just left with 4. Okay, now combining like terms here in the numerator, we have 2a minus 2a, which is 0, and negative 2b minus 2b is negative 4b. So we have negative 4b over 4, and these 4's divide out, and our final answer is negative b. And this concludes tonight's video. Under 10 minutes.